What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be doing the disassembly and maintenance for the CJRB Pyrite Large. It's a mouthful. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, got the Pyrite Large out here. I have my bits, which are linked down below. When you use my affiliate links, it does help the channel. I don't think that the lock mechanism is really going to play all that much of a role here in the disassembly, but this will be my first time disassembling one with a lock from CJRB, so we're going to dive into that to see that. I did check really quick before we started. It is T6 hardware for the pocket clip. I do want to take the pocket clip out because I do want to get to that spring. I'll show you here in a minute what I mean by that. Again, I don't think that that lock mechanism will make a difference as far as this disassembly is concerned. And I think, if I remember right, that the light, the original light, I think that that pivot was actually captive and disassembled from this side, but we'll find out here in just a moment when we take it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the disassembly with the pocket clip. All right, so that is loose and sticking to my magnet there. So these are steel. I think they should probably, I just totally whiffed on that. I'm looking at it, so I always have the wrong angle. But I think, come on, drop in there. Let's do it this way. There we go. All right, yeah, so they're steel. Yeah, they'll stick to the magnets on this mat, which I really do like. Makes it really a lot easier for me to manage the disassembly. All right, now I am going to go ahead and open the knife and lay it down. I know it's going to make it a little harder to see the disassembly process. Well, let me see if I can do it here. So T8, all right, came right off. I am going to put these screws here with the pocket clip, just for convenience, to make sure if I bump the mat, they don't go flying anywhere. And it does make it, like I said, easier to keep track of everything. All right, let's see if this is the captive part of the pivot. Yes. All right, so I don't know if it's captive, but it didn't move, which is always a plus. All right, so now that I have that disassembled, you can see I'm pinching it, and then I'm just going to hold the pinch while I lay it down, and then I let the spring raise that off, and that makes the disassembly a little bit easier. So it does look like there is a retention clip on the lock here for the disassembly. Let me show that to you a little bit closer. So you see that little retention spring there. So that is something that you are going to want to keep track of. Be careful taking that out. I don't think it'll make a big problem here. Yeah, once you have the scale out, it looks like it moves easily. Well, it looked like it moved easily. It's rounding around. So I think something with a tip like this would be able to help you get that off. You can see I was able to kind of slide it up and over, and I'm going to use the magnet there to keep track of that so I don't lose it. So no issues there with that. I think from here, I just realized my wrap, the wrap is sitting here causing it to fly in there. So my spring is over here. I should be able to, from here, just lift everything out. Yeah, so that retention clip, I think, keeps the lock from traveling too far the other way. So you do have caged, not stamped bearings in here. They look like they're built similar to the Delrin, so that is a plus. Let's see here. I'd like for the stop pin to stay on the other side. Still trying to be careful with my stitches. I don't want to put too much on them and cause them to be irritated. I am going to move that over to the other side. I'm going to go ahead from here and lift the blade out so that I can put, well, actually, I'm going to move everything out here of the way so I can clean. I am not worried about installing. These are really smooth. I like the washers and the bearings, so I'm not really worried about installing skiffs here. Yeah, and it is D-shaped, the pivot itself. So that's what kept it from spinning when I was trying to disassemble it. So I think you could disassemble from either side. All right, let me dry everything up here. I'm going to start with the blade. A little bit hard to hold it without the index finger. I'm going to start with the blade. It's got a lot more oil than I probably will put back on here, but I'm going to clean it all up and make sure any grit or any dirt or anything that attached itself to the knife while being operated with the factory oil is cleaned off. It does have the tracks formed already there. Also doesn't matter which way these style washers face. I like these a lot. These feel very smooth, guys. These feel very, very well done. Yeah, they're very well done. They're tiny little bearings, I will say that. And I am checking just to make sure I didn't lose any. It's a little hard to see sometimes whether it's just the hole or it's the bearing itself. Yeah, these feel very, very nice. They move freely for sure. Not a ton of dirt left over after cleaning either, so that's nice. Go ahead and clean the pivot. Gonna go ahead and clean the lock as well. And make sure that I get in between there. Gonna go ahead and clean the button off as well. Cleaning that and making sure there's no oil attached to that just ensures that I don't have any sort of stick or anything. Just a little bit of dirt on there, I noticed. But as I was saying, cleaning that, leaving that dry ensures that it operates smoothly with no stick without the oil. All right, I think I got everything. So let's go ahead and put the stop pin back in place. Make sure that we have that in a good spot. I went too far. A little hard to do this without my index finger on my left hand. So that is in place. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, since my stitchers are on my index finger, I'm going to go ahead and try to use my middle finger here. Bear with me. Normally, I'm used to using my index finger to kind of work a coat of oil on the balls. Yeah, no struggles, no issues whatsoever. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to just take the excess oil and kind of wrap that around the pin itself, just again to give it a light coating. I'm going to try to switch hands actually, guys. All right, so my applicator is wanting to leak oil all over the place today, so that should be plenty there. Going to go ahead and dry the hands and make sure that they're plenty dry. Reinstall the blade and the button. I'm going to drop the button in so that it's kind of catching in there, and then I'll push it all into place, and that should oops, the pivot moved with it. Yeah, that should let the button drop into place. All right, let me see what's going on here with this applicator. It's driving me nuts. I'm going to give it a big squeeze and try to get whatever was trapped in the pocket out, and then I will rub a little on. I'm going to dry my hands. And that way, whatever extra is on here, I get the excess off of it. You can see now it's slick again where I had probably a little too much on that. And I just don't want it flinging onto the button when it's operating. So that's the whole purpose of that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this liner again. I'm going to put the liner on first. And now that the liner's on, I'm going to go ahead and grab my retention pin that is sticking to my pivot, and I'm just going to work the button over. Oh, the whole thing shifted, guys. 1 second. 1 second. Don't go nowhere. There we go. Oh, it's really tight retention up in here. The stop pin is really giving me a hard time. Let me see something here. I think it's the button. I think the button slid over. Let me see. The button is moving. Oh, let me try it. That's flexing. The button is not lining up. Let's see. There we go. Okay. It was the button that wasn't lining up. It was not the stop. I thought it was the stop pin, but the stop pin is fine. All right. That is in place. That is in place. All right. I think we're good there. Okay. Yeah, the stop pin is very tight on this. I had to kind of push that in. All right. As I was saying, I'm going to do my best here to drop that retaining pin in, and I'm going to have to push the button in to do that. Oh, how nice. It just dropped right in. Yeah, dropped right in. I'm going to try to put it in the position that it was in when I saw it, which was up and down. All right. If that's installed correctly, we'll find out here in a minute. I'm going to drop the spring on, and then the spring is going to go into that pocket there. Yep, dropped perfect in there. And then to make sure that it's put together correctly, I'm going to start with the pivot, and then we'll do a couple of the body screws, and then we'll test it to make sure that that is assembled correctly. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let me grab a body screw. We'll just do 2-screw construction to test it. All right, so that is too tight. Or is it? Okay, so the lock is working, not over traveling. Nice and tight, locked up solid. Wow, that was really easy, guys. Very easy. Definitely not anything that you should be scared to attempt yourself. Everything is very well designed. And I will say, I feel like Kaiser, CJRB, those companies do a really good job with these constructions to make it, I feel like, kind of almost, I don't want to say idiot proof because I feel like that's a little bit of an insult to us. But to make it to where you really can't mess it up. All right, don't over tighten. That feels like it's not a thin liner, but there's not a lot for it to tap onto. So I have good centering. I have no up and down and no side to side. I have positive lock on the close and positive lock on the open. Yeah. Let me clean this up and we'll wrap it up, guys. All right, guys, that is your disassembly and maintenance for your CJRB Alt Pyrite Light Large. Again, a mouthful on that one, but pleasantly surprised. I really think the one extra step, removing the retaining pin for that lock mechanism, was a non-issue. Very easy to disassemble in maintenance. The tolerances are a little tight, so we did have a little bit of a hiccup when we were trying to get that stop pin lined up with the button. Like, they had to be perfectly lined up, which I'm not going to complain about that. That to me just shows that you have really tight tolerances in your machining, so it makes me feel confident in the rest of the construction. I think it was very easy. Let me know what you think about the disassembly and maintenance of this one down in the comments below. If it helped you, definitely consider leaving a like for the video to help me with the algorithm. And if you enjoyed the content as a whole, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you follow along. And when you use the affiliate links down below, all of that helps the channel. So thanks to you that do decide to use that. And I'm out of here. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.